Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a block that is called Caroline. And these are a little hard to read. I'm working on a better system, I guess. I don't know. But for this block, out of fabric 1, you will need one 5x5 square and two 2.5-inch squares. And actually out of fabric 2, you're going to need the same thing, one 5x5 and two 2.5. And out of fabric 3, you're going to need four 2.5-inch squares. So to do this, first we're going to get rid of those. We're going to take this, and this one we're going to make into an hourglass. I've done a video on that, but I'm going to show you again anyway. So first, I line that up. You didn't have to line it up first. I'm going to draw my lines. So I've had several people comment on this. You guys, you could just draw a line corner to corner and sew a 1/4 inch on either side. I've tried it and it just doesn't turn out as well for me. So I prefer to have the lines drawn that I'm going to sew on. But try both ways. See what you like. So we're going to lay that to the side and then we're going to match these up. So we're going to take all 4 of these. And I'm just going to draw my lines on this. I should have pre-done it. I'm sorry you have to watch me do it. Well, you don't have to. I'm just going to do one and then I'll do the rest off camera. So we're going to draw our lines. And I'm just going to draw them all on the same color. The one that there's 4 of. And then you're just going to match right sides together on all of them. And then I'm going to pin them. And I'm going to sew those too. And we're just going to go ahead and sew all our pieces like that. And I'll be right back then and I'll show you how to trim them up. All right, I've sewn them all up. And now we're going to cut them. These are pretty easy. You're just going to line it up. This time I do line corner to corner. Roughly, it doesn't have to be exact. I wouldn't worry about it. Or you could just take the scissors, cut right down the middle, whatever you find easiest. This block might be a little tricky. Your pieces are going to get smaller and smaller. I'm going to show you how I trim up a few of them. And then, I'm going to do the rest off camera. You don't need to see me cut all these pieces. There is a lot. I know my thread's red. I wanted it red. I didn't want it red. It's what I had on the... I'm trying to use up old thread because I bought it for something else. And now it's just laying there and I don't like to have a bunch laying around. I'm going to fold all these to the yellow because then they'll nest easier because they'll all be going opposite directions. But feel free to do yours however. Some people like to lay it down and let it go to whichever way the fabric tells you it wants to go, which is a good way. But when you're nesting seams, you kind of have to tell it where to go, or at least I do, because otherwise it yells at you and won't lay flat, and you have to rip out a bunch of seams, and I do that enough. All right. So I'm going to trim these. I'm going to show you how to do these first. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to show you how to do this first. This we're going to trim down to 4.5 inches. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lay my diagonal line even with my seam, and I'm going to trim off the edges. I try to get as close as I can to the edge. That way when I turn it around, I have more to work with. We're going to do it at 4. I know I have a lot of extra there, but actually no, I'm going to do it at 4 1/4 because that'll give me more to work with. You'll give me more to work with because we still got more sewing to do on this one. So cut it at 4 1/4. I don't waste this fabric. It's going in my pillow. So it really doesn't bother me. I'd rather have a little extra to work with than have to redo the whole thing. But if it bothers you, don't cut it so big. So then we're going to line up the diagonal and the 4 1/4 on both of them. All right, I'm going to lay those to the side for a minute and show you this. Same thing, but these were cutting down to 2 inches. So you want to get as close as possible, lining up your diagonal. These are tiny pieces. Just be careful. Spin it around. Then you're going to line up the diagonal and your 2 on both sides. I'm going to show you one more, and then I'm going to show you the next step in sewing, and I'll do these off camera. Line up your diagonal 2. Spin it around. Now you're going to line up your diagonal again and your 2 on both sides. All right, and you're going to do that to all of them. And then they're done until we need to sew them together to form our blocks. Now this one, we're going to take again and draw our lines. We're going to make a pinwheel out of it. So we're going to lay the corner to corner for the 1/4 inch and draw our line again. All right, then we're going to lay this one down and make sure they're opposite. So when you fold it open, you're still going to have one of each. And we are going to line up our seams to nest. And then we're going to go sew down both of these lines, and I'll be right back. All right, I've sewn that. I've trimmed all my other squares. So I'm going to do this one first. We're going to just cut it apart. And we're going to iron it up. Open up. And you have your hourglass. All right, so now we're going to trim these. Actually, we're not going to trim those yet. We're going to lay those to the side. No, we're going to trim them. I'm sorry. I'm indecisive today. These are going to end up being 3 1/4. So, I know I haven't done those yet. No. Just under 3 1/4. Yeah, 3 1/4. So we need to use then this line right here when we're trimming it up, and this line, see, 3 is 1 1/2. We need this line right here too, right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that is where we're going to line our middle point up at. But you also have to line up the diagonal, so we're going to line up the middle point there on that line, and then just move it down till the diagonal is lined up. I know that's confusing. I apologize if I didn't explain it very well, but we'll do it on both of them. So now this way is easier. This way you're going to line up your 3 1/4 and your diagonal and your 3 1/4 both ways. And then that little line, if you follow it up, it would be right in the middle. So now we're just going to trim that down. And that's our little square. So we're going to do it one more time. We need this line right here. Right here. And we're going to line that up. So we're going to line up 1 1/2. This one. Sorry. I gotta find a way to mark that. Actually, I will mark that. Let me show you how. I have this tape. This tape, I'm not sure what it's called, but I got it at Joann's. Let me get a little piece. Just cut a little bit off. Now let's find it again. It is this line right here. Just putting that tape on the back side. So then that tape will actually go up. So I'll line up the diagonal, but then I'll move it over to where the tape is lined up with the corner also. I'll try to link that tape if I can find it. I got it at Joann's. It was a 3-pack. It came with 3 different colors. I'm not sure what it's called. I really don't know. I apologize. Then we're going to spin it around. And now we're going to line up the 3 1/4, the diagonal, and the tape will lay right up at the corner, right through it. All right, so those pieces are done. We're going to lay them to the side. These pieces, however, are not. So we're going to take 2 of each. We're going to make 2 blocks. So we're going to make the yellow into a pinwheel. So to do that, we're going to start with it like this. And then we're going to make these 2 opposite. So they're going to be like that. So then to make the pinwheel, we're going to lay that there. And then the pinks will also be opposite. See how it makes a pinwheel there? So now we're just going to, I'm going to sew these 2 and these 2. And I'm actually going to lay them both out. Do them both at the same time. But not sewing them together. They're 2 separate blocks. So we're going to sew these 2, these 2, these 2, and these 2. And I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. I've sewn them, I've cut them apart. I'm going to iron them to the pink again. No particular reason, just want them all to go to the same way. Now here's where I messed up once. You have to make sure you lay them back out the way you want them to go together. So just like that, where the white ones are opposite and pink ones are opposite and the yellows make a pinwheel. So before I move on, I'm going to pin that together on the side I know I'm going to sew. All right, and then we're going to do this one. So we're going to lay it, the white goes up here, and then lay that, pinks are opposite, whites are opposite, and the yellow make a pinwheel. So we fold it over. And we'll pin it. There's no shame in making mistakes, people. I make them. Sometimes I fix them, and sometimes I'm like, well, it looks all right anyway. All right, so I'm going to go sew those up, and I'll be right back. Let's hope I did it right. I didn't do it right the first time. No, not on this one. The first time I made this block. This one so far has been all right. So we're going to open it up. Oh, look at that. That's all right. We're just going to press it open. Not even a big deal. That's just what it's going to be now. We're going to open it up. So it still looks good. They're all going opposite. So now is when we will bring our other squares back in. So these are going to go like this. You're going to line the pink one up to that. I'm sorry. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to trim these down to that size. I didn't even realize that until I saw it there. So same thing. We're going to line up the diagonal and the orange tape now that we put on there. That's the only two things you want to line up is the diagonal and the orange tape. And we're going to trim it off. Can't believe I almost forgot that. I need to get my act together. I'm so sorry. Now we're going to line up the 3 1/4, the diagonal, and the orange tape lines up also. So hold it tight. There we go. Same thing, diagonal and orange tape on this one. This one you have to, at least I do. It's pretty, ooh, that went close on me. It's pretty puffy there in the middle. So you just have to make sure you hold it tight. Or you could snip it and open up the seam. I just haven't tried that yet. Eventually I will. So now we're going to line up the 3 1/4, the diagonal, and the orange tape. All right. Let's get rid of these, get them out of the way. Now we're ready to lay it out. And again, we're going to do the pink towards that. And make sure your pinks don't touch. You want these blocks to lay the same. And then the white won't touch the white, like if you put it there. Or the pink won't touch the pink. So then we're going to sew these two together. And these two, which I actually have already done in this one. This is the one I kind of messed up a few times. So then it's going to look, you're going to have two pieces like that, which are actually exactly the same. But now we're going to lay them over. We're going to press or pin them. And then I'll sew that up and I'll be right back to show you how it looks. All right, I went ahead and actually just sewed them both up. So we're going to open it up. And actually that lined up pretty good. I like it. This one, we'll see. I've had several that didn't. But this was my first one. So the first one's kind of like the first pancake. I feel like, you know, you're meant to mess it up. So there you go. It is called, what is it called? It's called Caroline. You could lay them, I would put a sashing around it, but you really could lay them however you want. You could lay them like that. Make different blocks. Actually, I would do that. Now, obviously, I'd probably do the same colors, like the blue and the yellow would either be one or the other. But I like that. So maybe. Also, I did the pink as the main here and blue here. So, but anyways, you get the idea of how it would look. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you try it or if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Well, guys, I meant to tell you, I'm sorry. This square finishes at about 6 inches. If you were going to do it with my measurements, it's a 6-inch square. So now I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.